Wasn't ready for that one. Hello out there. We're on the air. Good morning, everybody. Happy Thursday. I got some bad news. Not too bad, actually. Fake bad news. Zapstream not working. Don't know why. I should probably do a little bit of digging around on that, but I guess life goes on. What do we got? Who we got? Who's here today? How's everybody doing? How's everybody feeling? I'm feeling pretty good. Pretty tired, but I'm feeling pretty good. It's kind of crazy right now. It's every time I open up my phone, it just seems like there's something else to be excited about in Bitcoin. It's crazy. And every time I see something that gets better and better and better within Bitcoin, my mind starts going down all these different roads. And it's a hard beast to tame right now. And I don't know. I wouldn't say it's overwhelming, but like I remember Trump said something a while ago. I think Daniel actually played the clip for one of our rescue dog intros, but it was like, we're going to do so much winning here that you're going to get tired of winning. That's kind of how I feel right now. I don't know if everybody feels like that in the world, but I feel like Bitcoiners especially, it's just like, it's nonstop. It could not be better. It could not be happening any faster. And there couldn't be any less. The percentage of people paying attention to this couldn't be less. Average person, which is really sad. Honestly, it's really sad. And in the next couple episodes of the show here, I'm actually going to spend, we'll see. I think I'm going to do something tomorrow about that a little bit. Just talking about how important our roles are within Bitcoin and how we should be, not just buying and storing away like squirrels, but like actively trying to get more of the average person involved in this thing. Because it's so clear to me where it's going. So clear. It could not be more clear. And every single Bitcoin, there's not a whole lot of Bitcoin left to be mined. And we've seen just so much outflow from the individual, the average person, into these big corporations and governments, and it's only going to accelerate. That's the thing. So we need to be conscious of this. I think that this is currently the biggest threat to Bitcoin right now is what's going to happen with the price here and how many people it's going to price out. And yeah, it's something we got to worry about for sure. And we can do things about it. That's what we have to keep in mind, I think. Is that I know it seems like we don't have a whole lot of influence in the world as, just me or just you, but together, that's how real change happens. And I don't think we should underestimate that. So I'll be spending a little bit of time talking about that and talking about some things we can do. Cleaner machine. Oh, anyways, Killer was the first comment today. I think that's a couple days in a row. Killer's been the first one in here. Cheers, Killer. Early bird gets the worm. Or in golf, we say early worm gets the bird. Cleaner machine, good morning. Jason's here. Brennan's here. Peace sign. Like that. Like peace. That's why I like the We Are Right About Bitcoin brand. Because it's going to be war, AB, no war after Bitcoin. We are right about Bitcoin. We got Jose. Congrats on 300 episodes. Yeah, I just noticed that this morning. I didn't even realize it was coming up. I guess I kind of knew. I saw 297, 298, so I did know. I'm not trying to lie here, but I didn't really like make a big deal of it at all. But 300 episodes, it's nothing to joke about. 300 live shows in about a year and a half. Still still got things to learn. It's funny. I mean, I go back and forth on this all the time too. One of my favorite comments that I get in the chats or in the videos is like, basically somebody saying they enjoy the stuff, enjoy the stuff I talk about, and they say like, how do you only have 9,000 subscribers? To me, 9,000 is a lot. Like I never got into this with huge dreams of hitting 100K or a million subscribers. It's just I wanted to talk about Bitcoin, and I felt like there was a lot of people out there who were looking for somebody to shoot it straight. And maybe I must have overestimated how many people want to hear about that, because again, I didn't think that we would get to the level that we've got this quickly. But then other people think that, oh, and the lights are flickering again. Guess I need to pay my power bill or change the light bulb, one of the two. Hey, look who it is. Hey, buddy. Well, at least he gave us a look today. Usually he just blows us off. Anyways, I don't even know where I was going with that, but it's good. We're in a really good place. I actually asked people a couple weeks ago not to unsubscribe to my channel, because I don't want this to be a big thing. I don't want a whole lot of you don't need that much in life. And I feel like the bigger things get, the more out of control that they get. So I love this, exactly what we have here. I absolutely love our Living in the Future community. There's so many great people in there, and it's really just the beginning of it, of this whole thing. Whether you're talking about Bitcoin, I said on a video yesterday that I really think that Bitcoin's not going to start until all the Bitcoin have been mined in 2140 or whenever it is. That's when Bitcoin really begins. But we might or we might not be around for that. So we just got to enjoy it while we're here. We got to be very thankful that we were born at this time. I've said this a couple times now, but as Bitcoiners, hopefully we aren't targeted. Hopefully we aren't villainized. It wouldn't surprise me if we get to that point, in the future. But we are going to get called lucky. And I think that I know how many hours we put into this. This is no joke. We are not just doing this for shits and gigs here, but we are lucky. We're lucky in the sense that we're born during this time. Because, imagine being born 100 years ago and having to spend your entire life in the Federal Reserve System. Like I know we've made lots of advancements through the years in terms of like living longer and quality of life. But like, that's a slave system. 100 years you spent your whole life living in a slave system. Like, that sucks. And in 100 years from now, they're going to look back to where we are today and wish that they could have been here right now. They will wish that they could have bought 1,000 sats, traded 1,000 sats for $1. Like at that time, I really believe 100 years from now, like a couple sats is going to be a year's salary for people, if not more. Just objective math, how this thing works, and the supply and demand aspect of it. So we are lucky. We're lucky to be born right here. I'm lucky to be doing what I do every day. And I think that, if you have something to talk about, I'm going to spend a little bit more time on tomorrow's show talking about this in more depth. But you should absolutely be doing everything that you can right now to grow this thing, to get as much as you can, to tell as many people as you can. It's not about orange pilling people. It's about talking to people who want to learn. That's how I think we need to be looking at this thing. It's not about standing on the street corner. It's not about showing up at family events and trying to convince people to buy Bitcoin. It's about being a trusted voice with integrity within Bitcoin, and talking to anybody who wants to listen. Anybody who thinks that they could learn something, teach them that. Anybody who wants to learn something, be the person to teach them that. I think that we all need to be taking more action towards that. So I'm not saying you should start a YouTube channel, but you should consider it, because we are in the midst of a revolution here, whether you fully comprehend that or not. And the more people, the more voices we can have in this space, the faster this whole thing's going to move. It's going to happen eventually. Like, there's no doubt about that. It truly is inevitable that Bitcoin is going to take over the entire world. But there are different variables there in terms of like how centralized it's going to be, how much the average person has, how quickly it happens. So we're the ones in control of that. I know that most people don't believe that, but that's the truth. We are in control of that. So anyways, thanks, Jose. Ah, shit. Nothing like a little rant to start the day. I wouldn't say that's a rant. That's a mini rant. Donnie, good morning. Johnny Midas, look at that, all caps. Good morning. Every time you put that thing there, look, it's a sunrise. But every time you put that there, I think it's puke face, like an emoji that's puking. Okay, well, we actually got a lot of stuff to talk about today, so I don't know why I'm dicking around so much. I guess I won't say dicking around. I think this stuff's important, and I'm going to be, like I said, spending more time talking about it. So again, I mentioned for anybody who just showed up in the last couple minutes here, the Zap streams are down. For some reason, they've been down all week. But we do have a couple different options if you would like to support the channel here. And it looks like somebody already has. It looks like Josh, I'm thinking 888 sats. Thank you, Josh. Josh, I don't think you were in the chat yesterday, but we did a little show and tell, and I showed off the new hat there. Where is it? That's right behind my head. Josh sent that in. So not only is Josh a daily supporter of the show, but he is one of the friends of the show that sent in some mail. So thank you, Josh. That was made my entire week. I put that hat on for a couple seconds and realized that I don't want to wreck it. So it's just going to be a nice collectible now. What a beautiful hat. But anyways, thank you for the Zap too, Josh. And there actually is another way where we can support the show now, which is called Zap Jor a Coffee. And I'm going to put it in the chat here. So this is a new thing that connects to Nostr, but you don't need Nostr to use it. So you can actually click that link I just shared in the chat there, and you can zap me a coffee. Pretty cool website. You can do it over the Lightning Network. You don't need a Nostr account. And you can buy me 1, 3, 5, or as many coffees as you want to, if you would like to. Of course, everything here is 1000% voluntary. So thank you, Josh. Jason says, calm before the storm vibes. That's exactly how I feel right now too. And I think that there's a lot of people both confused and really underestimating how fast and how high this thing's going to move. It's kind of crazy. There's just everything is lining up. Everything's been lining up for like the last couple of years. And I just feel like, yes, it's gone up a little bit, but for the most part, like if you rewind this thing 4 years, like we're really not that much further ahead than we were then. And there's been so much happen in those 4 years. And every one of those things is going to absolutely run this price up. So when this thing starts moving, and I think it's going to be fairly soon, it's going to surprise a lot of people. It's going to catch a lot of people off guard, even people in Bitcoin. Kyle, good morning. One of our Bitcoin journeymen, Kyle M. Beautiful looking dog there too. White dog, just like our guy. Oh, Arnie left. Too busy ranting. Sorry, Arnie. Must not have liked it today. Letha, good morning. Good to see you in the chat, Letha. Sorry, I guess I shouldn't say sorry. It's not my fault, but the Zap streams are down. Letha's usually in the Zap streams. Bitcoin we cannot lose. That's 100% right. Rajat, orange pilling doctors crushing it. Yeah, I've actually had several conversations myself with doctors in both Canada and in the US in the last couple of months. And they're probably, I shouldn't say probably, but they might be listening to the show either live or later. So I'm not going to give away too much information about it. But the one takeaway that I got from the doctors that I've talked to about Bitcoin is that especially one of them is in Canada here. And he basically said, you know, as a doctor he's an older guy. He's I would probably say Gen X. I don't think he's a boomer. I don't know his exact age, but I think he's younger than a baby boomer. But he basically said, like, if I'm making this amount in fiat and I feel like I'm struggling here, I'm falling behind, what does the rest of the world feel like? Like when doctors are having a hard time. Not, yeah, I mean, he probably has a much more lavish life than most of us, but that's not the point. The point is that he did everything that he was supposed to do and beyond, went through medical school, has worked in the medical industry for decades now, and he still feels like he's falling behind. That's the fiat system. That's the world that we're moving out of. That's why we're here doing this show today. And that's a hard reality, I think, for a lot of people, when the most respected and highest earners within the country are struggling. That's a very bad indication, or a good indication of how bad things are. So yes, absolutely. I think the doctors will be probably, as word spreads within the medical industry, that a lot of these doctors have medical corps too. And so it's a perfect opportunity for these doctors to be holding their value, preserving their purchasing power in their corporation by buying Bitcoin. So I do think that that's going to be a big trend into the future here. I do think that Rajat's onto something there. And I can speak personally and say that I've had conversations recently with doctors who are tired of the system, tired of paying as much tax as they do, and tired of having their wealth melt away day by day. The harder they work, the more they get punished. That's not a society that wins. So thankfully, we're moving out of that. And doctors, hopefully, are going to be some of the front runners in that. Okay, what else do we got here? Autonomous. Is that like autonomous but backwards? Or anonymous? I don't know. I think I've used up all my brain cells for the day already after my 16 minutes of yapping here. Anyways, good morning. Mark, good to see you, man. Good morning. What's SUI? SUI. What is SUI? I don't know what that is. But actually, on that note, here's what that Zap Me a Coffee looks like. It's up on the screen here, so I figured I'll share it. Zap Jura Coffee. You can put a 135 support, and then you just do the oh, you can't see that. There you go. So you can pretty easy. You can pay with LB, or you can scan it with your Lightning code. Like, how could that be any easier? How could that be any easier? I don't think it could. But let's check out GameStop today. I don't know what SUI is, but we'll see how GameStop's doing. I'm hoping GameStop is down, because I'm actually going to be a buyer today, and we'll talk about that a little bit. What am I doing here? Doxing myself. GameStop price. Forgot I was on the big screen here. Wow. Jor, turn your brain on. There we go. That's what we're looking for. I said that yesterday. I said, don't buy today. You're going to wait a little while, wait a day or two. And it looks like old Jor was right. So I am going to be a buyer of that stock today. We like the stock. I'm actually going to be selling some of my MicroStrategy for it too. So I'll talk about why. Just give me a couple minutes here. Let me warm up a little. Congratulations, 300. Yes, thank you. Autonomous. Thank you. Johnny, 300. This is Sparta. Hey, look who's back. Our guy. Oh, I did see a zap too while I was blabbering there. Sorry, missed it. Somebody sent in 2,000 sats anonymously. And I also missed Josh's comment here. It says, Arn, let's get Carney chaotic today, bud. Speaking of Carney, I love that his name's Carney, because I think that that's what he's going to be doing after he loses this election in Canada. He's going to be running carnivals. Oh, no, I did it again. I sent it to the email that I'm locked out of. And I need to get my shit together in life here a little bit. I need to get my shit together. But we're working on it. That's all you can do. As we bring that up, Donnie says, my 90-year-old parents don't understand Bitcoin. Well, that's not a surprise. And my 15-year-old son doesn't understand Bitcoin. We are in the sweet spot. I would agree with that. I think that your 90-year-old parents probably will never understand Bitcoin, unfortunately, unless we have some sort of medical miracle and an easier way to explain it to people who have lived in the slavery system for 100 years. But the 15-year-old definitely will get some exposure to it sooner than later. What? Okay, here we go. This is for this video is dedicated to Josh today. Oh, we're lagging. All right, so here's the deal. I know that everybody's not from Canada, but I think the point of this is greater. I think the point of this is that the walls are really closing in on these corrupt reptiles. And you know, through the last couple of years, I think that we've seen a real big shift of people no longer trusting things, no longer trusting the media, no longer trusting the government. People are losing trust in that. Remember, I had that sign yesterday behind the Action Cures Fear of like trust going down, trust in fiat going down, trust in Bitcoin going up. And there's going to be that crossing, the flippening that happens. And it'll happen within our lifetime for sure. But we're definitely on the right track. And I do think that the one thing I've noticed in the last little while is the media is trying as hard as they possibly can to legitimize these reptiles and cover up all of the things they've done. And I put a tweet out yesterday. I probably shouldn't be as political on my Twitter account, but I said Mark Carney is Justin Trudeau, but with more experience fucking people over. Central banker, World Economic Forum puppet, and friend of Ghislaine Maxwell. So this guy's dangerous. And the media is just like losing their minds over this guy. Just like, I don't know what's the play is here for Canada, but I think bigger picture, this is the kind of stuff we're going to start seeing more of here. As this fiat system, as the slavery system kind of subsides and fades away, we're going to see more and more stuff like this. So this was at a speech that Carney was giving last night somewhere with a whole bunch of fake fans there that I'm sure were all funded by the Liberal government and your tax dollars if you're in Canada. But anyways, it says, watch, Mark Carney claims anyone who accuses him of molesting children with Jeffrey Epstein is pushing CPC or Conservative Party conspiracy theories to divide Canadians. What a bullshit response. Carney is a gaslighting POS. So this is good stuff. It's a minute long. You're going to hear somebody yell, how many kids did you molest on Epstein Island or something like that. And then you're going to see his reaction to it. And just look how uncomfortable he is. You know that this guy's so full of shit and so guilty just by his body language here. And then he tries to, he's probably the worst French speaker I've ever heard. Like, I feel like if they're installing this snake, they should have found somebody who can actually talk French, speak French. Like, this guy sounds absolutely detarded, as Ricky would say from Trailer Park Boys, trying to speak French. So here, let's have a listen to this.
How many kids did you molest with Jeffrey Epstein? Honnêtement. How many kids did you molest with Jeffrey Epstein? Honnêtement. This is the
Look at this setting. Like, they're clearly in a room or a basement somewhere, and they have all these people pretending this guy's like popular. This is the biggest illusion, trying to create an illusion I've ever seen before in my entire life. Like, if you look at some of the people who are actually popular in real life, like Donald Trump, he fills an entire stadium and he has miles of people lined up to get into that stadium. These guys are in like a Legion basement, and they're trying to make it look like this guy's like a god here. There's probably 100 people there, and they're trying to paint this picture that he's like the most popular guy in Canadian history here. And listen to him just stutter.
Ça, c'est le produit des politiques de division. Des théories conspiratoires qui circulent dans les coins cachés, qui sont promouvoir.
Okay, fuck that guy. I can't even listen to him anymore. So he's saying that him being friends with Ghislaine, or however you say it, Maxwell, is a conspiracy theory and an attempt to divide Canadians by the Conservative Party of Canada. Just absolutely sickening. Absolutely sickening. And I got to get off this because I'm going to get too mad here, too angry. But yeah, I don't know. I feel like this is going to be, I don't know. We'll stop talking about it here. But anyways, let's keep it rolling. Sorry. It's just, and the thing about that kind of stuff is like, I know that, you know, people like to avoid politics. I know that showing things like that on my channel is probably going to hurt more than it helps anything. But like, this is the kind of stuff that we need to be bringing into the light. So I don't really care what sort of impact it has on, you know, the metrics or the whatever of my channel. Don't care. This stuff needs to be shown to people because, you know, Canada still has a fighting chance here. And if this guy gets into office somehow, some way, we're in a lot of trouble. And I think it's just a perfect example of how corrupt the mainstream media has become and how much of an illusion this whole thing is, not only in Canada, but in every part of the world. I mean, you just look at Joe Biden's term, 4 years. I don't think I saw him once in the White House. So was he there? Was he actually running the country? Did he actually get that many votes? We know the answer to that. And you know, I'm thankful that we are starting to learn a little bit of the reality here, aside from, you know, the illusion that they create there. Anyways, Flow for it. Good morning, Ginger. Good morning. Tejavsky. Good morning, Jor. Appreciate your content. Thank you. Appreciate your comment and support. All right, we got another frog, usually in the Nostr chat, but Nostr is down. Or not Nostr, but Zapstream is down. Imagine 50,000 per year is the medium household income. Yeah, and imagine how many meals would that even buy you? I feel like $50,000 per year is coming up to most people's food budget nowadays. Just crazy. It's just crazy that people are just still, you know, going to work, paying taxes, doing what they think they should do, and expecting things to change. That's the sad part. Donnie, I don't know any of these stocks you're talking about. Ghibli, Sui, never heard of them. Sorry. Timber Crasher, good morning, Bitcoiners. Bitcoin is hope. Keep fighting the peaceful revolution. Bitcoin is hope. Fiat keeps you poor. 100%. Your note is your vote. We, the people, have the power. Do your part. No action is an answer. No action is an answer. An agreement with the slavery system that the powerful want to keep you living in. Well said, Timber Crasher. Bitcoin is freedom. Fiat and CBDCs are 1984. A boot stomping on a face over and over again. 100% true. Actually, I heard Odell talking about PBDCs. Do you guys hear about that? I like that term too. Instead of central bank digital currencies, it's going to be private bank digital currencies. That's absolutely coming for sure. And we actually had, I think it was the state of Wyoming. State of Wyoming. Look at this. Oh, that's dipshit Arnie again. Let's get him off my screen forever. Wyoming to launch a state-issued stablecoin. Look at that. Wyoming plans to launch its own state-issued cryptocurrency in the form of a stablecoin as soon as July. the state's governor announced Wednesday. The proposed stablecoin would be the first fiat-backed and fully reserved stablecoin issued by a U.S. entity. So it sounds like their stablecoin is going to be fully backed by the U.S. Treasury cash and repurchase agreements. It will also maintain a statutory requirement of no less than 102% capitalization. Pretty good. But this was the part that I liked here. This is a quote from the governor in Wyoming. He said, "I don't think there's any banks that have been really eager, right, to jump in." Jamie Dimon was floating the idea a little while ago, and I remember talking to him and saying, you know, if you're going to do something, you should really do it in Wyoming because we have a framework to do it. The governor also added that the Wyoming stablecoin can also be a tool for farmers and ranchers to quote unquote develop new markets. That's kind of cool. What do you think that means? The governor added that the stablecoin can also be a tool for farmers and ranchers to develop new markets. Interesting. So, absolutely coming. And I think that the part that most people are missing right now when they see this and say, you know, I don't want a stable coin that's backed by the dollar because the dollar is worthless. Yes, agreed. But just wait until the US Treasury starts adding Bitcoin to their balance sheet and backing the dollar with Bitcoin. Then there's going to be layers on top of Bitcoin, and stable coins issued by states, issued by towns, issued by municipalities are absolutely going to be a thing. If you think back, I think it was like 120 years ago, like all these different private banks actually had their own currency that you could use locally. And I think that that's going to happen. And when people worry about Bitcoin not being a store or not being transactional, it's not scalable. That's true. Bitcoin on layer 1 is not scalable. But when you use layer 1 as the base and the foundation for what you build on top of that, you can do whatever you want to. And people say, we're not going to have enough sats for the world. Probably true. There's not going to be, people aren't going to be using layer 1 in a decade from now. The average person will probably never use Bitcoin layer 1. They'll never have their own UTXO. But they will have stable coins and other currencies, digital currencies built on top of that foundation. And that was kind of my point. I forget when I was talking about it, but I said like 1971, when the US went off the gold standard, most people probably didn't even realize that happened. What's going on here? Why am I so blurry? Hello? There we go. But most people probably didn't even realize what happened in 1971 when the US took the gold or the dollar off the gold standard. Think about now. Like, think about with all the information we have, TV, cell phone, our laptops, we have so much information every day. And I really think that, how many people are aware of this kind of stuff happening right now? With all this information, access to information is unlimited. How many people do you think know that Wyoming is issuing a stable coin? How many people do you think know of Bo Hines? I made a post on nostr yesterday saying that Bo Hines is not priced in. And if you've watched any of that guy speak lately, he's a big part of the Trump government and admin, and he's a big Bitcoiner. And, as I was thinking about that, as I typed that, I thought, Bo Hines isn't even priced in for me because the last show I did, I was calling him Bo Pines. So somebody who spends literally all day in Bitcoin didn't know what this guy's name was. So like the average person has no idea what's happening here behind the scenes. And I think just like in 1971, where yes, it happened, but I'm thinking most people either A, didn't see it, or B, had no idea what the implications of that would be 10 years out and 50 years out, especially. And that's what we're living through right now. So I think that we're going to go through the same shift, but instead of going from a gold standard to a fiat standard, we're moving from a fiat standard into a Bitcoin standard. And most people will have no idea that that's happening. They'll have no idea that this is the cause for it, but everybody will slowly notice their life get better and better because of that. Because we have a currency that's backed by something that cannot be created, cannot be printed. requires real world energy to create. So that's kind of where I think that things are going to. And this is kind of like one of the first steps, part of that. I think Wyoming is the first, but they definitely will not be the last. Rock Creations, good morning. Parker, good to see you, man. I don't know if you're still here or not, but good to see you. Sorry, I'm way behind in the comments here. When the stars align, I have some money in SCHD with a tax-advantaged account, contemplating moving to their strike or strife. Any thoughts? Don't have any thoughts. I haven't spent enough time learning about strike or strife to comment on that. I hold MicroStrategy myself. I'm going to be buying some GameStop probably as soon as this show ends today. But I don't know. It's tough. I think that like some of these offerings here, like Strike and Strife, I'm pretty sure they have some sort of a dividend built into that. So if you are, it's probably a less volatile, longer term play than MSTR. But, the one thing I would say is like whatever you're holding in that tax advantage account, make sure it is only companies related to Bitcoin, because they're the only companies that are actually going to survive this thing. And not only survive, but the companies who are here now are going to be the winners of the next century. Because I've talked about this a little bit before, but like with GameStop, I'll talk about why I'm buying GameStop, but also the reason why I wouldn't buy GameStop is because MicroStrategy is the winner here. It's already been determined. Nobody's going to catch MicroStrategy. They can try as hard as they want to. The US government has big plans to buy like 25% of the supply. Yeah, good luck with that. Good luck with that. So MicroStrategy being the first one to do this strategy. Sorry, I keep calling them MicroStrategy. I cannot shake this, and I'm not meaning to. I'm not trying to disrespect strategy. It's just I've said it so many times that it just kind of flows out of my brain. But anyway, strategy is the first one to implement this strategy. So what that means is every company and every country and every individual who joins the network after them, they are going to see the rewards for that. And it's the same as individuals. It's the same kind of thing. But we'll talk about it a little bit more in terms of that. But that's what I would say is whatever you're holding in like these tax registered accounts, make sure it's either a Bitcoin company with the Bitcoin strategy or a Bitcoin ETF, because everybody is just going to get left behind. Some of them will survive, but they're not going to have near as much leverage and future potential as the companies who are in Bitcoin right now. Mert says, in my opinion, before explaining Bitcoin to people, we need to explain how the current fiat system is working. Don't jump into Bitcoin directly. 100%. Yep. And that's what I would recommend. If anybody's thinking about like starting a YouTube channel or a podcast or anything, a blog, make sure you start with that. Don't just jump into Bitcoin. Help people understand like why Bitcoin is the solution. They need to know what the problem is first, essentially, before that they can understand why Bitcoin actually has value. Because if you don't understand how broken our monetary system is, you won't understand Bitcoin. That's just the simple fact. Bitcoin Buddha, good morning. Saw Bitcoin Buddha last night. I think we're going to start doing that more. We did a little premiere on the Maple Bitcoin channel last night, talking about that. And I'll get back to that in a bit. But Bitcoin Buddha was in the chat, I believe. Kyle says Carney is being exposed thanks to X and YouTube. Yes, 100%. And I'm just doing my very small part here in trying to expose more of it. Elbin. I think Elbin was one of our featured questions on the clips yesterday. Good morning. Timber Crusher says, I agree, Mert. No one wants a solution forced upon them when they can't even comprehend that they have a problem. 100%. We're speaking the same language here, folks. Jason says, Carney was the guy who floated the idea to follow the money during the trucker protest, which led to the freezing of assets. Yeah, this guy's a sick man. He's a very sick man. Why am I so blurry today? What the hell is going on? You okay here, camera? What's going on here? Arnie had enough of it too. I speak French and I don't even know what he's saying. He's just reciting vowels. I cannot speak French. I probably speak French as well as Mark Carney does, though. A, E, I, O, U. That sounds pretty accurate, actually, Brandon. Bitcoin looks tired. All this good news, and we are still way down from the high. Surely lower is the path of least resistance here. Can't see how we would be going higher anytime soon. Well, I wouldn't short Bitcoin right now. That's what I would say. Again, I know I keep going back to this, but I think this is so important for people to understand. Once you understand the green light analogy that I've been talking about, the timing of things do not matter. We know where this thing is going. We know that the demand for this thing is going to go up every single day going forward. And that demand will never come back the other way. Nobody learns Bitcoin. Nobody gets into Bitcoin. Nobody understands Bitcoin and then decides that they're just going to go back to the old system. That just doesn't happen. And so with that in mind, as that top number grows, as the demand for Bitcoin grows and individuals, companies, countries join this thing, there's just going to be more and more people fighting for that limited supply, the bottom number there. And when you can really wrap your head around that, then it does not matter what the price is today. It doesn't matter what the price is going to be in a month from now. This is going to happen. It's just how fast, how much are we going to get of it? And can we keep it decentralized? Those are the only things that matter. The price of Bitcoin, oh no. Arnie got a new toy yesterday, a little squeaky burger. And it sounds like he decided to bring it for show and tell today. Hopefully that stops. Plivia is pro Bitcoin. No. Oh, Plivia is pro Bitcoin. No. Yeah, I think he is. I think he is. I don't like how little he's talked about it recently. He pretty much came out and said, buy Bitcoin when the price was like 17K. And it was higher than that. And then it dropped to 17K. And that was kind of the last we heard about it from him. And we saw Trudeau bash him in public about promoting Bitcoin. And then that's the last we've heard of it, which I think he's missing a tremendous opportunity not talking about Bitcoin. You know, he could just straight out come and say, if you would have listened to me back when I said to buy Bitcoin when it was 40K, you would be in a pretty good position right now. And you compare that to holding Canadian dollars instead, you would be in a pretty good position right now. But I don't know how much they want to ruffle things right now. I don't know. The politics in Canada are just like, don't make any sort of sense to me right now. So who knows? Is he pro Bitcoin? No idea. It says he is, but politics are a scam. I agree. Put Trump on the ballot. Yeah, I think the world would be pretty shocked if they put Trump on the ballot in Canada. We got a lot of loud, purple-haired voices who would say otherwise, but the majority of people, are hardworking farmers, oil rig workers, some of the hardest working people in Canada. And they're a little bit brainwashed, but they're not stupid. And unfortunately, we have the media who just basically, blowhorns all the purple-haired freaks, their thoughts on things. And that's what people really believe that most people think in Canada, but that's not the case. I've actually never met one single person in real life who voted for Justin Trudeau, and he's been the prime minister here for 9 years. So there's something happening here. Obviously, it's not good, but we do what we can. We do what we can. Yeah, that's Kyle says he hasn't mentioned it after the drop in 2022. Liberals were using it against him, but now it's up huge and he hasn't promoted it yet. Oh, Reese, sorry, man. What did we miss here? What did I miss? Oh, yeah, 50,000 sats. Gotcha. Said, sorry, I misread your comment there, but I guess for obvious reasons. where was it now? Imagine 50,000 sats per year is the medium household income. What would that be? Even like $50, 50 US? It'll be less than that eventually. It's just what your time frame is here, what your timeline is. Hey, Marshall, you've convinced me to sign up for Nostr. Is there an app on iOS you can post from your iPhone? Yes. It's a great question, Marshall, and I'm glad that you asked that. I put out a video on Nostr yesterday. Actually, I would highly encourage everybody to check that one out. That was actually done after the show yesterday. I had a thought in my brain, and I wanted to get it out to the world. So the video is done pretty well, actually. Surprisingly, I didn't put anything about Nostr in the title or the thumbnail, and I think that's why. So I'll put here's the video that I posted yesterday. I'll just put it in the chat there for everybody. Talking about Nostr a little bit, talking about Jeff Booth replying to one of my comments or posts and actually zapping me 1,000 sats. So I made a video about it, talking about how big of an opportunity there is right now in Nostr for any Bitcoiner willing to put in the time. But anyways, what was I getting to there? Nostr. So this is what I would tell everybody who's thinking about joining Nostr right now. Just start here. Just start very simple. Go to nostr.com. You don't download anything from this website, but it'll give you some good resources and tools for getting into Nostr. So you can scroll down here a bit. Skip this. You see here a big button, create your Nostr account. Don't use that. Scroll past that. And scroll down to clients. So clients essentially are apps. Nostr is a protocol very similar to the internet, very similar to Bitcoin, where things are built on top of that. And so the things that are built on top of that are called clients in this case, which I hate, but they're basically apps. So there's not like one app for Nostr, it's a protocol. So there's a whole bunch of different clients or apps with a whole bunch of different features that you can use the Nostr protocol with. So if you click clients here, you can scroll down and you can see which ones are on iOS, which ones are on Android, which ones you can use on desktop, and both. So Marshall, I would say that you should be using either Damus or Primal. Those would be my tips for iOS, or nostr. Actually, that's a good client too, nostr. So one of those three, I would actually download all three of them. You should be able to get those from the App Store: Damus, nostr, and Primal. And you can use whichever one you download first. They're going to provide you with a public key and a private key, just like Bitcoin. And you can write that down or copy and paste it somewhere safe. And you can actually use that key pair to log into other clients. So that's the cool thing about Nostr is, like, if you set up an account on Damus and they provided you with a key pair, your first one that you download, you get a key pair, and you can start following, you can start posting on there, and you can actually take that key pair, the public key and the private key, and plug that into Primal or plug that into Nostr, and it's going to look exactly the same. That's one of the really cool features about Nostr, is that unlike the traditional world that we live in, where you can't do that with like Facebook, you can't take your login information from Facebook and plug it into Twitter and then plug it into YouTube. They're all different walled gardens. Whereas Nostr, whenever you get your key pair, you can actually use that to sign in on any of the applications that are built on Nostr, which is really cool. So your feed looks the exact same. The people you follow are the exact same. The people who follow you get pulled through, and all of your posts are there, regardless of which app you're using. The different apps just have different features built into them, which is why people prefer different clients for different reasons. But for the most part, that's where I would start. I would say Damus, I would say Nostr, and I would say Primal. And if you're on Android like me, I only use Amethyst. That's my go-to. I've used Primal. I use Primal a little bit, but I've had a much better experience on Amethyst personally. So I hope that makes sense. I might do like a little course or something on Nostr, because I know that there's a lot of people who want to learn how to do it. Because it just makes so much sense. Like that was the thing that I was talking about on the video yesterday. I was like, people don't comprehend how big of a deal this is, that you can add value to the world and they can send you value from anywhere, any amount. They could send you 5 sats. They could send you 500,000 sats. They don't need any permission. They don't need to put in their ID. They don't need to do a recurring, put in their credit card stuff. If you put out a post and somebody laughs, learns from it, or is entertained by it, they can send you value instantly back in Bitcoin, the best form of currency. And so from somebody like tomorrow, and I might actually tie this into tomorrow's show a little bit, but I'm going to start talking about that a little bit, is like, I encourage everybody who's watching the show right now to be doing stuff like this, to be talking about Bitcoin, to be talking about whatever specific part of Bitcoin that you are most interested in. There's going to be a lot of people who have interest in that as well. And so the cool thing about this is if you were to go through that same process, and I'll actually use Maple Bitcoin here as an example. So I'll use Maple Bitcoin as an example, and then I'll talk about like the average person and what it would look like. So between Rajat, Forrest, and myself, Rajat and Forrest have very big followings on YouTube. I think they both have over 20,000 subscribers. And we started a new channel called Maple Bitcoin. We've been doing it for a couple months now. We've done some live streams. We've done a lot of videos. And we still only have about 1,000, maybe 1,400 subscribers on that channel. And we just got monetized like a couple days ago. So that's a lot of energy and effort put into this space combined. And we would be making like $5 a month on YouTube. All of that would equal about $5 a month on YouTube. But the beauty of things now is we have a nostr account. We've received a decent amount of sats through nostr already. I only created the account last week, but our shows too, we put a little QR code just like Arnie's wallet here. We put that on all of our clips, and we've got a significant amount of sats by doing that. So nostr is part of that. Bitcoin is a big part of it with like the QR codes and stuff, where now if you make a post or a video or whatever and people like it, there's no gatekeeper there. There's no middleman that can say, these people, you have to get 4,000 hours before you get any money for this. You have to get 1,000 subscribers before you can earn any money from the value that you're adding. That is so insanely corrupt. But that's the world that we grew up in. So nobody really thinks too much of it. But now, again, you make one post and people like it, they can send you money. Bitcoin, the best money. So it's only a matter of time before this catches on. And I think about like artists, like music. Imagine like a bigger artist, not even a bigger artist, but like an artist with a good following. And they say, you know what? I'm going to start sharing my songs exclusively on nostr. You guys can go follow me over there. And they release a song, and people can send in 50 cents, 25 cents worth of value, or 100 sats, 200 sats. And imagine how that adds up, where you don't need the record label in the picture anymore. And you can just post directly to your fans, and they can send you some value in return for that instantly, without permission, without KYC. Like that is a massive, massive idea. And it's here. It's already built. So I think that it's just a matter of time before, especially Bitcoiners, like if you're a Bitcoiner and you're not on nostr yet, like what the hell are you doing? I don't mean to be like rude or anything, but like, what the hell are you doing? What's more important than that right now? And we're moving into a truly decentralized world, and nostr is going to be a big part of that. Retro Beaver says Canada cannot survive another liberal NDP term. Yeah, I agree. Albertans will take separating seriously if they're able to steal the election in April. I agree. Stablecoins are a distraction from buying and using Bitcoin. I don't necessarily agree with that. I think stablecoins are going to be a necessary part of the journey here in Bitcoin. Hey, look at this. Josh says you don't have to discuss this on air. Too late. But my business manager of our union is backing Carney. The members are fucking pissed. Many trade unions are backing the PCs except him. I just don't get it. I'm sure there's a reason for it. I'm sure your business manager is getting some free printed money from the Liberal government. That's how they buy a lot of their votes, is they print money and they give it to people. It's truly the most insane system that you could ever imagine. And people are just, it's regular to people. You know, the media owns our or the government owns our media. And people are just like, yep, fake news. They still listen to it though. They still take them as a reliable source. It's 100, well, I shouldn't say 100%, but mostly funded by our government. Without our government paying for CBCs and CTVs and all these other bullshit news organizations, they would be dead, because not enough people pay attention to them. They don't sell enough ads. Our government literally has to subsidize them. And when governments subsidize you, that means that they own you. Insane. People who say no one accepts Bitcoin haven't done any research. I've used it to purchase hockey tickets, watches, and most recently a vehicle. Wow. I don't know if you're still in the chat or not, Retro Beaver, but like, what are you using for that? Are you using like Marketplace, or how are you finding people to buy things with Bitcoin from? Government tit. Yeah, that's a problem. The incentives are completely broken here. Okay, so use strike and strife for dividends to create income. So if you're penalized for withdrawals, it doesn't make sense to use a div strategy. If it's not touchable until into the future, you'll want to use MicroStrategy for the volatility gains tax-free in the future, not financial advice. Yeah. Again, I don't know enough about it, but I think I was right in the fact that they are dividend paying, which a lot of people like. I don't care for it myself, but a lot of people do. Okay, I'm running out of time here. Might have to cut. I hate leaving comments behind though, so I'm going to buzz through these quickly. Drew says, Jor, how do you feel about trading between MicroStrategy and other Bitcoin ETFs, moving from MSTR to ETF during extreme greed? Yeah, that's a good strategy. I think actually, and part of what I'm going to talk about today is I think GameStop will actually be a better vehicle to do that than MicroStrategy. That's what I'm sensing. That's what I'm hearing from others who I respect and trust. And so that's what I'm going to be doing. Yeah, I'm interested to know what Retro Beaver is doing for a marketplace there. Read the Bitcoin Standard book, explain what's wrong with the fiat system. Yeah, that's a good thing. It's just hard to get people to read a book. Even people who read, it's like, yeah, they read, but do they want to read about Bitcoin? I really wish that he wouldn't have called it the Bitcoin Standard. I think that that's where, but then again, I don't know. Obviously, he's done really well with it, so I can't really judge. But I don't know. I think the Bitcoin Standard is a pretty overrated book, in my opinion. Nostr, says Josh. Dope Collector. Look at that. What a good name. Good morning. Dale, Canada is a Bitcoiner running against a central banker. It's quite fascinating, actually. Isn't that the truth? Yeah, Carney was a central banker, I think, in both Canada and England. But yeah, that's true. I don't know. I wouldn't call Pierre a Bitcoiner, but he's talked about it. Buck52 says, sorry, I'm late at the dentist. No problem. I'd rather be here than where you are. Hate the dentist. Yeah, this is exactly what I'm saying. Nobody looks at this kind of stuff. How can anyone in crypto or Bitcoin be pessimistic with all the Bitcoin news, companies, countries, and retail buying? 17 XRP ETF applications applied for the SEC. This is a time to buy. I agree. Don't be buying XRP though. Sell. Is DCA a good method to get into Bitcoin and accumulate Bitcoin? What's your take on it? Actually, I'll save this conversation for Maple Bitcoin. We had a really good conversation on this, and it's going to be posted on Sunday morning about the best way to accumulate Bitcoin. Because I had a theory here. Where is this? I'll just give you guys a little bit of a sneak peek of it. I think a lot of people, it's going to change a lot of people's minds on how they're buying Bitcoin. I think, I hope anyways. Where is this? No, that ain't it. I'll find it. There's too much stuff on here. There it is. Arnie's squeaking. Okay, so one of the things I've been talking about here on this channel is a way to get more Bitcoin, a way to get to 1 Bitcoin. Okay, that squeaker toy's got to go. So this is this was my take on it. I thought this was a really good way to think about things, because when you think about 1 Bitcoin, like that seems like such a huge task, but when you break it down and you say, okay, well, the first UTXO that I need to get is 15,000 sats. The second UTXO that I need to get is 15 million sats. The second one, 14 million sats. And if you just go down and start at 15 million sats and just go down and down and down, I still like this approach. We took a little bit different of approach in terms of like years, but I think this is a really good way to think about it and to do it. So you start at 15, every UTXO shrinks by 1 million sats, and you just have 10 UTXOs, and that equals 1.05 Bitcoin. You could also start at 14 million, and it also works out to be the same. Let me show that to you. I mean, 14 is it's $1,000 less right now, but this is what it looks like if you start at 14. 95. So you need 11 UTXOs, I believe, for that, or 12 maybe. So I think that's it's less daunting when you break it up in chunks like that. But anyways, what we're going to talk about, or what the video we made was about, is why you should actually take a slightly different approach to this. But to answer your question right away, I think what I would say is just take whatever you have, whatever assets you can sell and buy Bitcoin with, do that today. And then DCA from there. M. Vincent says, wife wants a bathroom remodel, but all I can think of is that's 30 million sats. How do you balance living in the now versus the future? I think my best answer to that would be wants versus needs. Right? Like, yeah, a bathroom remodel sounds great. I don't know what kind of condition your bathroom's in, but like for me, I don't know. I'm gonna hold on to things as long as I possibly can until the walls fall down before I spend any of my Bitcoin. But if you need it, like if it's a need, like for example, this last summer I needed some tires, and so I had to spend some Bitcoin. It was a need. I also dragged those tires on too long as well, probably to an unsafe degree. So that's kind of how I would think about it. But yeah, it's a tough one. Do you think the use of nostr will be much more easier in a few years? I do. Yes, everything gets easier. Think about Bitcoin back in 2012 and how easy it is now. Even 5 years ago, when I started buying Bitcoin, it was very difficult to do. You had to buy USDT first. I mean, you had to send an e-transfer to some random person. It was really hard. And in 5 years, like it could not be any easier to do now. So nostr will be no exception to that. Assuming people use it though, that's the thing. These devs are building as much and as fast as they can. But unless people start using it, like, they're going to stop building, and then we're going to be in a lot of trouble. So that's why I encourage people to join, like Marshall here. It makes a lot of sense. Thank you for explaining. I also agree everyone should watch yesterday's video. Really opens up the value of nostr. So if you're watching this video later for the replay, or just watching it after, I'll try to remember to put that video that I posted at the top of the show notes here. Guys, I'm excited. I've been working on orange pilling some coworkers since I found Bitcoin. Just the other day, 3 of them told me that they need to get with me so they can learn more. There you go. That's the position that you want to be in. I think that's such a solid strategy. is just kind of like take it slow through the years, introduce it where it makes sense into a conversation. And then eventually when people realize that they need Bitcoin, they will come to you. And when they come to you, that's where you want them to be. You don't want to ever force information on people. But when they're ready, then, you know, it's go time, green light. God, I love that term. Green light. Bought a car from Stampede Auto here in Calgary. They accept Bitcoin transfers. Wow. That is cool. Well, I just Googled what dealerships accept Bitcoin as payment in Calgary. Damn. Like, is that not a perfect example of how Bitcoin is a cheat code? Literally, you chose Stampede Auto because they accept Bitcoin. They got a customer because they accept Bitcoin, specifically for that reason. Doesn't matter what their TV ad was. Doesn't matter how good their social media is. You're going to have a large crop of people here in the next couple of years and beyond who are looking to buy and sell with Bitcoin. And if you can facilitate that, you're going to be much further ahead than, you know, other businesses. Like, that's crazy to me, but it makes sense. Tom says, read the price of tomorrow. Yes, Jeff Booth, my man. Best way to get to 1 Bitcoin is DCA, start a business, increase your income. Wage slavery is designed to keep you poor. Yes, that is such great advice. And that's what tomorrow's show is going to be focused on. So make sure you show up. Sorry, I haven't been paying too much attention to the zaps here. I've been yapping too much. Zaps are slow today. Zaps are slow today, but that's okay. That's life. So on that note, if you learned anything today, if you've been learning anything from this channel, you can send some value back this way through Arnie's wallet very easily without permission. Sorry, I'm jumping in on people's conversations here. Yep, this is a good strategy. Saving Bitcoin is always better than saving paper. You convert when you need to into fiat, hodl the rest. Yes. My opinion on XDS, XRP derangement syndrome. Yikes. Jesus is Lord. Please, can you say something about Moon Wallet? Does it work or not about Bitcoin and money? I like the Moon Wallet. I think that's the wallet that I started with actually in Bitcoin. There's a couple things I don't like about it. It's kind of a fake Lightning wallet. Like, it has the Lightning option there. It has Bitcoin and Lightning, but everything's actually kept on chain within Moon. So it's not real Lightning. And when fees get really high, you can't move that Bitcoin using Lightning. So I think that's a little bit misleading. The other thing I don't like about Moon is their recovery phrase. It's not compatible with other wallets. It's like 4 letters and numbers mixed together for like 8 words, I think, which isn't compatible with some of the other wallets. So I like Moon. It's a very simple wallet to use. I've recommended it to countless amounts of people. I look at Moon as kind of like an in-between wallet. So if you're kind of in between although Aqua's kind of replaced that in my life a little bit. But I do like Moon. It's kind of like a nice in-between from like moving your Bitcoin off of the exchanges. Very simple to do. You just have to make sure you write down your recovery phrase, because if you lose your phone with Bitcoin in it and you don't have your recovery phrase, your Bitcoin's gone. So it's a really good in between for moving from an exchange into Moon. And then eventually you want to move that out of Moon and into like a hardware device, like a cold card. So I like Moon. I like Aqua here, as Sabian is saying. Both wallets are great choices. Honestly, if I had the choice between using it, and this is what I've been using more of, it is Aqua. Aqua has a lot of functionality that Moon has. It's just as easy to use, I think, but it has better features. You can actually hold Lightning on there. You can hold Liquid, and you get 12 words backup phrase instead of like 8 words, random numbers and letters. So that's what I would suggest. If you're kind of in between, I would lean towards Aqua personally, but Moon Wallet is also it's very simple. I like the simplicity of it. I did have some other things that I wanted to talk about today, but just like most days, we're already an hour and 10 minutes into this thing. But we'll see what we got here. GMI. Oh yeah. Okay. Let's talk about this. So I did say, actually, I'm going to look at this right now as I'm on the air. I'm going to look at my investment account. I might be buying some GME live on the air here, but I'm going to talk about why I'm actually going to be buying GameStop. I'm actually might be buying some live on the air here. Okay. Oh, so let's look this up. What's it called? GME? GameStop? How are we looking right now? Hopefully I didn't miss. Okay, I'll take that price. $24. So let me bring up this tweet here and we'll talk about it. Okay. So yesterday we did a video on the Maple Bitcoin channel talking about the GameStop stuff that's going on. And I would highly encourage everybody to check that out. Even though we kind of missed the timing of it a little bit, we went down some roads that weren't overly relevant, but I think there's still a lot of good information in there. And this was a tweet that I saw this morning after we posted that video. And I want to share some of the thoughts on this. This is from Cena 21st Capital. I think I've seen some videos with this guy before. But anyways, this is his plan to save GameStop, which could be coming into reality here. So buy lots of Bitcoin. I think he's missing a word there. Buy lots Bitcoin. Rename to Game Strategy Inc. Ticker to GMI, which is short for gonna make it, instead of NGMI, not gonna make it. Bitcoin ATMs at all branches. Accept Bitcoin payments. A Bitcoin rewards program. And this was the one that I wanted to focus on. Partner with game developers to build Bitcoin rewards in games. This is one of the points I raised in the Maple Bitcoin video yesterday, was like, how much sense does that make to be doing? Think about the amount of people who play games on their phone. Like, everybody's on their phone all day. It's sad, but it's the reality of things. And there's a couple companies who have been building this in this space right now that allow for people to play games, watch ads, and earn Bitcoin. Thunder Games being one of them, ZBD being another one. And imagine if GameStop could actually transition their business strategy to be doing that and offering games, mobile games, that actually pay out in sats that you can both earn sats with watching ads from, or actually gambling with them with other people, or against the house, the computer. I think that there's a massive opportunity there. Donate to open source Bitcoin devs. Yes, that's a big one. Don't use Coinbase. Also a big one. And don't peddle. I like this one too. Don't peddle only store of value ideas and promote actual usage of Bitcoin on Lightning. Massive opportunity here. I really believe that. And I didn't really understand that as much as I thought. I thought that they were kind of just going to, buy Bitcoin to save their company at first. But anyways, a couple thoughts I have on this, and this is going to be one of the reasons why I'm actually going to sell some of my MicroStrategy shares for GameStop today. A couple reasons. Number one is that GameStop obviously has some brand recognition there. There's a large community of GameStop owners who have held on to the share for a lot of years without any sort of real value there. They've kind of been waiting for something like this to happen. And I think that this is the best possible move that GameStop could be making. So they have a lot of community here. And I think we've understood the fact, the importance of community and networks when you're trying to grow something. So I think that all of the other companies who have tried to use this Bitcoin strategy, it won't be as effective for them because they don't have that sort of brand recognition. They don't have that community there to get behind this. And so I think that that's a big part of it. We talk about memeing things into existence all the time. Bitcoin's a perfect example of that. And I really think that GameStop is going to be, it's not going to be an exception to that. So that's one thing. I think that we really can meme things into existence. I think that GameStop will be one of those things that is memed into existence. And this is why I say that, because this is kind of how I see it playing out. And I was watching the guys from True North last night, Jeff, Ben, those guys. And I loved their conversation. I loved a lot of things they talked about. I didn't love one thing. And I think it was from Ben who said it. He said he likes it. He likes the idea of investing in GameStop, but he's going to wait until they actually buy before he starts getting in on it. And I just think that that's terrible advice, because here's kind of how I see this playing out. If you were looking at this thing a couple of weeks ago or a month ago, you would have seen the picture with Saylor and Ryan Cohen, the CEO of GameStop, took a picture together. You could have put some things in your mind together. This guy's having a conversation with Saylor. This is probably going to be announced soon. If you have the foresight and the vision to see things before other people, that's the opportunity. And I don't think it could be any more clear that GameStop will be buying Bitcoin. It's just a matter of how much. And I, for one, am not going to wait until they actually buy Bitcoin, because I can see the writing is on the wall here. And if you wait until they announce that they bought Bitcoin, you're going to be with everybody else. So yes, it's a little bit of risk. I would say the odds of them actually going this far, announcing what they have announced and changing their mind, I think are very low. So if you can weigh the probability of that in your own mind and say, okay, these guys are probably going to be buying Bitcoin. This is probably going to be a massive thing. I want to front run this. That's buying GameStop today, not waiting for them to announce it. And the reason why I put such a high probability of them actually buying Bitcoin is because if you look at the release that they put out, this was a unanimous decision by the board. This wasn't like a 5-4 split where there's 4 people who didn't want to be doing this and 5 that did. This was a unanimous decision from the board of GameStop to pursue Bitcoin. The next day, they announced their first offering. I think it was 1.4 billion, 1.3 billion of convertible senior notes. So I, for one, am not going to wait for them to buy Bitcoin. They're going to be buying Bitcoin, and I'm going to front run whoever's going to catch on to this in the next couple of weeks and months. So that's the other thing I would say is I didn't like that advice. I think that, you have to take a little bit of risk if you want to get the biscuit, as they say. And the other part of that too is the reason why I'm going to buy it first is because they have the attention now of the GameStop community. I'm guessing around the world right now, there's a lot of GameStop holders, nerds, tech guys, gamers. They've seen this. This is something that they've been waiting a long time for, some sort of announcements of like what they're going to be doing. And I think that they're going to start looking into Bitcoin here. And when they start looking into Bitcoin, I think that they're going to be pleasantly surprised what they find. And they're going to realize that yes, not only is this their best option, but this is a massive opportunity for where this world is moving into. So once they catch on to that, once they start sniffing around in Bitcoin, the demand for this stock is going to go through the roof. I think it's going to be very volatile. I think it's going to be more volatile than MicroStrategy because it is such a well-known brand, I guess, and stock from retail and larger pools of capital. So that's kind of my thoughts on it, and that's why I'm going to actually sell some of my my strategy shares to buy GameStop. I think it's a better short-term play. I'm not going to hold on to it for like 5 years. I see MicroStrategy as a very long-term play. I'm going to use the community waking up, very intelligent people. They're not dumb people within the GameStop community. These are very intelligent people. And when they see what's happening here in Bitcoin with GameStop, this thing's going to go through a very large upward spike quick. And so I think that because of that, because it's much more recognized within the retail investing, I think it's going to go up quicker than a MicroStrategy for this year. I'm going to probably cash them out. I'm going to look at this as more of like a short-term trade. This is not financial advice. This is just what I'm doing and how I see it. So if you buy GameStop and you get wrecked, you can't blame me. But if you do, that means that Bitcoin's probably failed, and you won't get much from me anyway. So Daniel says, I have MicroStrategy or Strategy, IBIT, and Fidelity. Got rid of my mining stocks too. Yeah, mining stocks are shit. GameStop selling 1.3 billion of notes to buy Bitcoin. That's why the price is dropping today. I think they're using debt to buy Bitcoin. The price of the share? I don't think that would be the case. That shouldn't drop the price of the stock. If they were selling, if they were pumping a bunch of supply into the market, that would drop the stock. But no, I don't think that because they just announced that they're selling that privately. So I don't think that would be an impact on the, it's just hype. That's exactly what I said on the channel yesterday, or the show yesterday. I said, like, this is going to be, there's a lot of hype around it today. It's probably going to sell off in the next couple of days, and it sold off today. So people got their 20% return yesterday, cashed them out, and now we're back where we started. Nobody's figured this out yet. Like, nobody has figured this stuff out yet. So the market moves very slow, but I think that once the market figures this out and the GameStop community figures this out, the stock's going to go up very quickly. That's how I see it. Okay, we're still talking back and forth here. That's okay. Keep chatting. How would you invest millions of dollars? Ooh, that's a good question. Maybe we'll end with that one today. It really depends. It really depends where it's sitting. If you had $1 million worth of cash, I would buy 100% of Bitcoin. Yeah, I would. Because if you got $1 million, you probably got some other assets, probably a house, probably a car, probably some other stuff. But if I had $1 million in cash, I would buy 100% Bitcoin and take self-custody of that. I think people are really, a lot of this stuff is distractions, and I'm guilty of it myself. GameStop, strategy, lots of distractions there. I think if you look at this thing as if you want to be your family's version of Michael Saylor, if you want to build your own strategy and your own personal strategic reserve, it is Bitcoin. There's no counterparty risk there. This is going to be the best thing that you can hold. And that's maybe my last comment on this GameStop and strategy play, is that I do think that, yes, there's been a lot of demand for these stocks because it's a really easy way, a really convenient way. And in a lot of instances, the only way that these companies and these large pools of capital can buy Bitcoin today. But again, this is kind of how I see this whole thing playing out. So let's just use GameStop as an example here. Let's say there's the GameStop community out there. There's going to be a bunch of people looking into Bitcoin right now, trying to figure this thing out. They're going to understand a little bit of it. They're going to, be more excited. They're going to buy more GameStop. It's going to drive up the price. But then they're going to get to a point where they understand Bitcoin. They understand that the best way to own Bitcoin is to hold it yourself. And that's going to be the case for individuals. That's going to be the case for these companies who are buying things like MicroStrategy, things like strategy. I think they should have kept MicroStrategy. It rolls off the tongue way better. But they're going to be instead of buying strategy in the future, they're going to be taking custody of their own Bitcoin, because that's the play here. That's the end goal. Everybody's trying to get as much Bitcoin as they can, but they're doing it in stupid ways. For these big pools of capital, this is the only way they can do it. For people like me and you, we have the ability to buy Bitcoin and hold it ourselves. We can hold the asset. We can be our own Michael Saylor for our own families here. So as that happens, I think the demand for a lot of these stocks will actually drop through the years. Strategy might be an exception, but Bitcoin is the asset that you want to hold. It's the one that's truly, absolutely scarce. So that's what I would do. If you have some money in the old system, I would split that up between like strategy, GameStop, and maybe some Tesla and some Bitcoin ETFs. Mostly MicroStrategy though. That's kind of what I would do with it. Anyways, I got to go. I think we got a meeting here in 2 minutes. Damn. Low. I thought that was a pretty good show today, but the audience didn't agree. Low some low zaps to Arn's wall today. He even showed up a couple times. But anyways, you can do it on your way out if you would like to. And the last thing I would say is if you feel like zapping a coffee for today's show, if it was an hour and 20 minutes worth your time, you can use your Lightning wallet and click that link. But either way, we'll be right back here first thing tomorrow. Thanks for being here. And thank you to Josh and another anonymous zapper today for the sats. So have yourselves a great day, everybody, and we'll see you right back here first thing tomorrow morning. Bye-bye.